Hello and welcome to Find Out Nation. I'm one of your hosts, Jamie,
I'm one of your hosts, Nicole.
and we're here to talk about what happens when, as a nation, you start fucking around and finding out. Nicole. So I did read an article. No, I saw a meme or something that was like, Republicans are realizing very quickly that it is highly likely that they lose control of either the House or the Senate or both in the midterm elections, and they are panicked about it. And I don't disagree that it is a possibility. However, I also don't want to get too comfortable because we have seen
Yes.
how much this presidency will try and overturn an election.
Yes. Yes. And it's only the end of April, and we have until
it's
November.
only the end of April, and we have a long time before we actually vote. But I believe that it is still less than 200 days.
It is. We have 194 days to the midterms. We finally cracked 200.
I did not I knew I'd live to see the day. Like I was like pretty sure I'd live to see the day.
Yeah. You did.
Okay. And did you see on the Daily Show them making fun of Donald Trump signing the executive order about the military people being able to use low dose psychedelics for treating depression?
No. Is this the thing with Seth Rogen? Like I heard something about it, but I didn't see it.
No. Okay. So Donald Trump signs an executive order that allows military suffering from PTSD to take low dose, like psilocybin and ayahuasca and like different brain altering drugs for treating depression and PTSD and things like that. And then he's like, ooh, he goes, so first of all, you watch him sign and he signs.
Oh God.
And he signs. And like there's at least like 4 extra letters in his name for sure.
Oh.
And he just keeps on going.
The cognitive skills are on full display.
And then he's like talking about how depressed he is. And
what?
Yes. And Jon Stewart's like, don't worry. You can't be president forever. Yeah. We're all depressed about it.
It ends for you at some point, and all of us
at some point. Exactly right. Like,
oh,
so anyway,
my
I thought
God.
that 194 days. I feel the sanity re-entering my body. Yeah. Like, do we think after the midterms, let's just pretend that we take control, Democrats take control. Is there I am positive someone will bring forth articles of impeachment, right? Like it's for sure going to happen.
Oh, I would imagine. Yes.
And like, I would be shocked that doesn't happen. And then I would be shocked if and all the Epstein files have to be released, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I feel like as enraged as he has been lately about different things, if they truly lose, that might just be enough. If he's not taking a dirt nap yet, that'll be what sends him straight into an aneurysm.
Yeah, or something.
And he strokes the fuck out. Like,
well,
it's just going to send him over the edge.
Or he just gives up on life and he's like, okay, this obviously is not going to happen. Like, let's
and I feel like to the point you were making, like he's already out here on talk shows being like, I don't know why it happens, but the sitting president almost always loses the midterms, which he's not wrong. Like Clinton and Bush were the only two that ever managed to not have that happen to them. But I'm like, he's already trying to preemptively be like, it's not my fault. This is just what happens. Look at history. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because he doesn't want to take the blame for the reasons why the party's going to lose the midterms potentially.
Oh, yeah.
So...
But everything he touches turns to dust.
Turns to absolute shit. Yes.
All right. So 194 days is great.
Yes.
What else? What other countdowns
we
do you
are
have?
457 in.
Okay. That sounds painful.
I know, right? We are 67 days into the government shutdown.
You know, it's funny. So I did see that we have started to talk about the and we've got it in our thing to talk a little bit about the resolution budget. But at this point, like we're seeing I mean, I guess there's no more fuel to fly planes anyway.
Yeah,
So maybe
exactly.
the TSA crisis is not such a big deal
No one
anymore.
cares anymore. Yeah, exactly.
Maybe no one.
Yes.
I saw, what was it? Was it Lufthansa just cut their flights by 20% because they can't manage
Yep.
the cost of fuel, and fuel is a shortage, and
Yeah.
love
Yeah.
this journey for us.
Yeah. And then we are
Um,
53 days into the Iran war.
oh Jesus.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I love it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I feel like at least this was better than, only being,
Mm.
because the days where we were like, oh, we're only 10 days
Oh,
and we have
God.
290,000
Yes.
days until.
Yes. Yeah.
All
Painful.
right. It is. So let's start with the Iran war, because it is like the thing that
Yeah.
it should be hopefully occupying at least some of Trump's brain cells at this point, but you never know.
Yeah.
So we had the ceasefire between the US and Israel with Iran. Iran wanted to continue charging companies to move ships through the Strait of Hormuz, which Donald Trump said absolutely no way, no how, because of course all of his friends and cronies are the ones that own these ships and don't want to have to pay the $200 million, right?
Yeah. Shocker.
So Trump decides that in an effort to prevent the blockade by them, he's going to bring in his own naval blockade. That happened last week, and that's preventing any ships in and out of Iran. And so it was like boys and their toys. That's what it felt like. Boys and their toys.
That's a good
just
analogy.
sitting around, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. On Saturday, the Iran finally broke and said no more. And some ships tried to go through, and they fired at them. They ended up, I think, boarding one ship on Saturday. Then there were another 3 ships that tried to go through today that I've heard of. And they took over 2 ships over the weekend, and then now they've done another 2 ships today that they have seized. Trump, of course, had given a strict 2-week ceasefire. He came back yesterday and, not surprisingly, was like, well, my ceasefire's indefinitely. I'm resisting calling it another Taco Tuesday, even though it's always on a Tuesday. It's weird that it's always on a Tuesday. I don't know why that happens. But anyway, I'm resisting calling it a Taco Tuesday because I want him to chicken out. I want him to keep these ceasefires in place. I obviously don't want excuses for continued fighting there. But on the other hand, I'm also like, then what are we doing? Then
right. What are we doing?
Right. Indefinitely, we are just now camped out.
Yeah.
And we've got this blockade and nothing else. So Iran has said specifically that the blockade is an obstacle to negotiations. There have been no negotiations that have been discussed since the original ones basically fell the fuck apart. Iran came out and said that mixed messages from the White House have caused them to not want to participate until they understand who's in charge and what exactly they're going to ask for.
I mean, makes total sense to me.
I know. It's so bad that JD Vance was expected to go over to Pakistan yesterday. I think he even had like flight logs booked. He had his fucking bags packed. Like, he was ready to go. And then last minute had to cancel his plans because the other side wasn't going to be there. Like, Jesus. So we still have a blockade. We have another Taco Tuesday moment.
Yeah.
We have no negotiations planned, and Iran has said point blank that until you remove your blockade, I'm not interested in negotiating with you.
Yeah.
And Trump has said basically, until you remove your blockade and give me a list of what you want, I'm not going to move. And it's just, again, a bunch of penises playing with their toys. It reminds me so much. And Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Yeah.
The big guy in his bath, and it's a huge bath, and he's got all these boats.
Yes.
That's what this reminds me of.
So true.
Like, every time I think of this, I think that it's them.
Well, and I get where Iran's coming from.
Yeah.
Like they have no incentive. And Trump, I saw something that he twatted out or was being interviewed on Fox News or something. And he was saying that his plan that he's going to come up with is going to be so much better than Obama's and blah, blah, blah. And I was listening to the Pod Save America guys, and they were saying like, this is all about taking Obama's name off things. Even
I'm
if the
sure.
exact same plan, Trump comes up with the exact same plan. This is his way of saying this is the Trump agreement for Iran, not the Obama agreement, which is why he ripped it
Yeah.
up in the first presidency,
Yeah.
is because it had Obama's name on it. And so,
Oh, for sure.
so they're like, there's no way he's going to come up with anything better than what the Obama presidency was able to get them to come to the table and agree to,
No,
you know? So
absolutely not.
it's
Absolutely
just
not.
an absolute shit show.
So then today,
Oh God.
the Secretary of the Navy, John Phelan, was ousted from his position. 6 sources familiar with the matter told CNN, and this is breaking tonight. So,
Yeah.
we'll see. But Pentagon spokesman Sean Parnell announced Wednesday evening that Phelan would be departing effective immediately. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth informed Phelan he needed to resign or he would be fired. Sources close to the matter are reporting. So here's what the CNN article says. Basically that, and I hope I'm saying this guy's name right, Phelan. I might not be,
right.
but I think that's right.
Yeah.
Anyway, I have a knack for mispronouncing names, and then my
It's fine.
father cringes until he calls me and is like, daughter, this is how it's. So apologies if I am like making you bleed from your ears, any of our listeners, regardless. So I guess there was a discrepancy between how quickly they were like responding to things. So I think, was it the Army, the highest ranking Army general? He was fired because he refused, or somebody was fired because they wouldn't go in with a full
Armada
army
or
and
whatever. Yeah.
right, exactly. So I guess Pete Hegseth was getting mad at Phelan because he wasn't acting on this blockade fast enough and wasn't responding with enough treachery and blah blah blah. And then they also, I guess, Phelan would talk to Donald Trump, and Pete Hegseth felt that was like going over his head, which it is. But on the other hand, like if my manager goes to my boss, if someone under me goes to my boss and is like wanting to talk to him about things, like I'm not going to fire him over it. Like I have enough like confidence in myself and my job that I'm not worried about it, right? And so
but that's
it
so
just seems
indicative of like everybody in this administration that's in a position like that. They're all everything is so fucking cutthroat, and they're immediately jumping to the worst conclusion about things in their positions because like you said, because none of them are qualified for the fucking positions they're holding anyway.
That's exactly what I was going to say, is that none of them have confidence in the jobs that they're doing because they're so underqualified that it makes it difficult for them to not be like constantly assuming people are coming for them, coming from their jobs, all that kind of stuff. Especially because like we've already seen 2 people get fucking fired. Hello, Kristi Noem and Pam Bondi. And of course, like besides the fact that this is to take Obama's name off this, it's also to distract from the Epstein files. And it's also to do whatever Netanyahu wants us to do. Like it solves a lot of like problems that Trump has. And so we'll just stay there forever and see what the fuck happens, I guess.
Yeah, I guess we're just going to permanently put a base up in the middle of the ocean.
Okay. Speaking of Trump cabinet members that don't know what they're doing, do we want to talk? Let's talk about Kash Patel.
Yes, please, because I thoroughly enjoyed the report in The Atlantic when I read it yesterday. I lived for it.
He's having a rough go of things.
I mean, it's hard though, James. I don't think that we quite grasp how hard it is to go from being a low-level DOJ attorney to a low-level congressional staffer to a podcaster to the fucking director of the FBI. We would drink too if we were that unqualified for our fucking position.
So I know that women tend to suffer from imposter syndrome.
Yes.
But we're born with it. Why?
Yes.
But this is why.
This is 100. Oh my God. If any woman out there ever again feels like she is not qualified for the role that she is in, just take a look at good old Kash Patel.
I know, but I would not ever want to be in this position where I am being put in a very public position to lead a department that I am in no way qualified for and then fail miserably at it. Like,
But this
is why people so much are worried about, like, oh, am I actually qualified for this fucking job?
But that's what cracks me up about these motherfuckers. They think they're qualified.
I know.
They don't
know.
have any kind of
or do they just
100%. I think I think that Patel probably thought, and I think Hegseth thought this too, because Hegseth's like, I got some military experience, this is gonna be fine. I think Patel probably thought, these are career FBI agents. I don't really got to do much. They run themselves. There's managers between me and them. This is gonna be fine. I'm just gonna take the company jet to go see my girlfriend in Nashville. I'm going to go slam a beer with the United States hockey team. Like, this is all going to be fine. I'm just going to do some photo ops in my vest like I'm, Kristi Noem, and it's all going to be great.
Yeah.
Because he's totally out of his depth. And yet didn't know enough about the job to even know just how far outside of his depth he was.
Well, so, yeah. Okay. So for anyone that doesn't know what we're talking about, so let's set this up too, because I just want to make it clear that, like, the report from the Atlantic did not come out of nowhere.
No.
Last May, Frank Figliuzzi. Am I saying that right? Figliuzzi. He was the former assistant director of the FBI, went on Morning Joe and made a crack that Kash Patel has been visible at nightclubs far more than he has been on the 7th floor of the Hoover Building, which is where the FBI headquarters are located. Obviously, it's the worst kept secret that Kash Patel is a motherfucking drinker all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Kash sues him for defamation. That lawsuit last week was thrown out by a Houston judge. So we know that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then this Atlantic report came out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you want to summarize the report or if you want me to, but I am happy to.
Yeah, I mean, I have it. It doesn't matter to me. I just have some stuff that I highlighted in it because I thought it was.
So I'll just, the beginning starts with, on Friday, April 10th, as FBI Director Kash Patel was preparing to leave work for the weekend, he struggled to log on to an internal computer system, which
has happened to all of us.
Like, it does. You struggle. Like, sometimes I forget my password. Like, I write my passwords down. Like,
me too.
The FBI
I'm a total boomer like it.
Me. I'm such an idiot. But yes. He quickly becomes convinced that he has been locked out. He panics, frantically calling aides and allies to announce that he had been fired by the White House, according to 9 people familiar with his outreach. 2 of these people described his behavior as a freak out. Who does that?
Right.
Like, who?
I can just see him, his running around on his short little legs, like, oh my God, like just freaking out.
Yes. So the report basically said that, like, he's been so scared of getting fired. So he has a long history of drinking to the point where they would have to move meetings because he wouldn't show up to early morning meetings, that they would have to work around his hangovers. They also said that at one point, like, he was drinking until he was passing out, to the point where at one point he was behind a locked door, which I assume is
he was in a hotel. No, he was in a hotel room.
Oh,
he was in a hotel room. Yeah.
And he's passed out so dead cold that they couldn't get him to wake up. And so they requested breaching equipment. And Stephen Colbert made the joke, I've never been battering ram drunk before.
Right.
Like, no fucking shit.
Yes. Yeah. Like, that's insane to me.
Well, the thing is like, I've had nights where I am, that I get.
Yes.
To your point, I don't think I have ever been so fucking drunk that I can't get up and answer a door.
Well, and you're not the director of the FBI.
No fucking shit.
Who's susceptible to being compromised because you have an alcohol problem.
Yes. And so Cash came out and basically said he's never been intoxicated on the job. Great, but
what are you doing after work? That's the problem.
Right. That's right. And like, I get the fact that but if it's affecting your day-to-day job, it's affecting your day-to-day job.
Well, and sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, you're the director of the FBI. Tell me when you're not on the job. I think James Comey would love to hear when at some point as director of the FBI, you're not on the job. And that doesn't mean you can't go to dinner or a 4th of July barbecue and have a fucking beer with your friends. Nobody's saying you can't do that. But at any point in this country, 24 hours a day, the FBI is constantly monitoring for threats.
Yeah.
At any point, you could get called at 2 a.m. to have to go do a fucking press conference because they've just thwarted some domestic terrorist issue and they got to call for breaching equipment because they can't get to you behind a locked door because you're fucking passed out drunk.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
The fuck? You're not an 18-year-old frat boy. What are you doing?
That's my thing is like, it's one thing when you're a 25-year-old and you're living life. And to your point, you don't have as many responsibilities, whatever. But when you grow up and you have like Mark and I always talk about how I have nothing like that. I have no job like FBI director in any way, shape or form.
Right.
But I have a 15-year-old kid. So by God,
you have responsibilities.
Mark and I have a plan every night that we're going to go out with friends and have a cocktail. Like we plan that shit out.
Yeah.
If I'm going to, if I know that, okay, I'm going to have a couple glasses of wine tonight, like we have a plan because we're fucking adults and that's what adults do.
Yes.
And like this idea that like, this is how we're living our life. So the report talked about the Poodle Room in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And that he's frequenting the Poodle Room on a regular basis.
Yeah.
They've seen him stumbling there.
It's crazy.
What are some of the other things that came out of the report that I'm forgetting?
That he also goes to the private club Ned's in Washington, D.C. While in the presence of White House and other administration staff getting obviously intoxicated. So the department's inspector general has warned that off-duty alcohol consumption not only impairs employees' judgment, it makes them vulnerable to exploitation or coercion by foreign adversaries. Yeah. But so I thought this was interesting too in the article when they were saying that FBI officials and others in the administration have privately questioned whether alcohol played a role in the instances in which he shared inaccurate information about active law enforcement investigations, including following the murder of Charlie Kirk. Because, he came out and was like, we've arrested somebody. And then there was something else that happened where he said that they'd made an arrest and then they had to let the person go because they had nothing to do with it. And it's like, and we all knew Hegseth was a fucking drunk. Yeah. But I feel like this flew under the radar. I don't know that anybody even maybe in the administration knew that Patel was a drunk because Hegseth's drinking was part of his congressional hearing when they were appointing him to the position. But this didn't come up at all with Patel.
Well, and to your point, like if someone has a drinking, and I've said this to Mark all the time, like if you ever feel like your drinking is unacceptable, like that's a decision that you and your family need to make together. Yeah. And so my heart goes out to him if like he is struggling with this.
Yes.
If he wasn't such a piece of shit and
exactly.
But I'm like, how much of this actually came about because he's in a position that he knows he's wildly unqualified for. And the stress is so much that he drinks to escape his reality. Like how depressing is that?
Then you know what? He has instead of doing this lawsuit, he has the opportunity here to actually get out and to get out with some humility and say, I have a problem and I'm going to step away because it's for the betterment of myself and it's what's best for the country and I'm going to seek treatment. And he could walk away with his head held high and no one, I mean, even though I think he's a total piece of shit, I would give him props for stepping away and it would get him out of this fucking position that he knows he's not fucking qualified for.
No shit.
Instead, we're going to double down and we're going to threaten a lawsuit and that shit's going to get tossed out too.
Yes. He filed a $250 million defamation lawsuit against the Atlantic over this new article. And to your point, it's just going to get thrown out again.
Yeah. And in the meantime, he's going to stay in
like,
his role and keep drinking and keep having, you know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah. Well, and the last article was a Houston judge that threw it out. So I was surprised that the judge threw it out as like whatever.
yeah.
But this was filed in Washington D.C. I'm like, good luck. Like,
Yeah.
there's no judge on the planet that is going to let this go through. You're a fucking idiot.
Yes.
So, yes,
Good old Cash.
poor Cash Patel.
I
But
know that
in
poor
all
son of a bitch.
fairness, between Kristi Noem and her husband and
Oh yeah,
his
and his boobs.
bimbofication,
Yeah.
and her jerking someone off at a theater, and the next person we talk about, Cash Patel's problems are actually pretty tame. Because the next person I want to talk about is Lori Chavez de Reamer, who is the latest member of Trump's cabinet that is exiting.
Yeah, you're gonna have to tell me about this because I've literally not read anything about her.
Oh, girl, I can't wait.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Yeah, give it to me.
Okay, so she was labor secretary.
Okay.
And just to give you an idea, so, Joe Biden was super, super, super pro labor and like did more for the labor movement than
Yeah.
probably like the unions than any president that we've had. It's like the one thing that you can point to and be like, Joe was really good at this.
Yeah.
When Trump came into office, the head of the labor union, one of the major labor unions, like maybe Teamsters.
Mm.
I'm thinking it's like maybe Teamsters is what I'm thinking, but I can't remember for sure. Anyway, basically handed this lady over to Trump and said she should be your Secretary of Labor.
Okay.
Well, Trump had nobody to put in that position, and so he like kept making jokes that, oh, she's basically a Democrat. Okay, she has come in. She has just enacted every single Trump-initiated labor policy that he has wanted to. He praises her all the time. He just loves her. Okay. In January, the Department of Labor Inspector General began investigating her for, number one,
Oh God.
misusing funds to take her teams to Las Vegas and have wild drunken parties
Did they go to the poodle room with Cash Patel?
nearly every weekend.
Jesus Christ.
There are questions about whether or not the trips were real or fabricated, but we had a lot of funds spent on this. Number two,
Oh shit.
drinking on the job regularly.
They're all fucking alcoholics, girl.
My love, I saved the best for last.
Oh God. Oh God.
Number three, having an affair with one of her security details. Okay. Remember how I said I saved the best for last?
Oh, that wasn't the end. Okay. Oh God.
In addition,
oh Jesus Christ.
her husband and father have both been accused of sending inappropriate text messages and are being accused of sexual assault
What?
by young female staffers. Her husband's been accused by 3 different staffers, and he was banned from visiting the Department of Labor.
Oh.
Remember how I said I saved the best for last?
Oh my God.
There is also a text message. There are text messages from Lori Chavez de Reamer asking her staffers to make sure they take care of her husband and father.
What?
And there's
no context. We don't know what
no
that means.
context that I have found. So I will tell you, I have searched far and wide to find exactly what these text messages say. The investigation is still ongoing, so they haven't released a lot of details. They said that once they wrap up their investigation, it'll become public. So we'll see what actually happens. And just remember, it's April and it's the end of April. And they finally decided. So, and the husband was banned. The father is sending text messages.
She's drunk on the job every day, all day.
She's drunk on the job.
She's fucking one of her security detail.
And it's almost May. And they finally are like, yeah.
This has reached a point where it's untenable. I gotta go. Which means the shit that's gonna come out is gonna be even crazier than what you just fucking told me.
How could it be worse?
Like, we're going to find out that she was out here Epsteining her fucking employees to her
Right.
own husband and her father.
Right. Yes. Like,
She was doing something like along the lines of, if you want to keep this job, this
I
is
don't
what.
know.
I don't
Like,
either, but I'm like,
who knows?
well, I wouldn't put it
Right.
past him.
Well, and especially because if like they ended up having to ban her husband, to your point, like, and she obviously knew this.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. Like, Kristi Noem obviously knew about her husband.
Yeah.
Like, there's no doubt that,
Yeah.
well, maybe she didn't, but regardless, I assume that like they had an agreement where we're going to stay together, but you continue your bimbofication. I'm going to have this affair with this guy in the middle of whatever.
With Lewandowski, and it'll be fine.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's with Lewandowski and it's fine.
Yeah.
I assume that.
Yeah.
And so for this woman, so that's the other thing is like, in addition, like we know how men are, we know that like sexual predators generally have a reason for being sexual predators.
Right.
And so I'm like, to your point, how fucked up might this get?
Yeah.
How fucked up might this get?
I mean, at this point, I won't be surprised if like they're on one of the websites we talked about last week.
Indeed. And so to your point, like the Kash Patel story seems real
mild compared to this. Like, who gives a shit about needing battering equipment to be able to get into a goddamn hotel room when this bitch is out here potentially pimping her fucking own employees out to her husband and her father?
And drinking on the job and misappropriating funds and having it's a lot.
So since she stepped down, there won't be any like live congressional hearing on her ass, right?
No. So
they'll just investigate and then it'll come out. Yeah.
Unless she's actually broken a law. And so theoretically, right at this point, she hasn't broken any laws. They'll still complete their investigations because to see if there any laws were broken. But
yeah.
And the misuse of funds for like whatever, there might be something there. But no, to your point, the fact that she stepped down is like,
yeah, good enough. She took care of it herself. I feel like if this wasn't the Trump presidency, that this would be sending absolute panic through a typical administration.
You would
all of these reports coming out about the ineptness of their directors.
You would think, but the reality is it's not like they haven't known that they're And what's crazy to me is that they've lasted longer than right.
That's true. I
mean, these people have lasted longer than most of the other cabinet members that Trump has appointed.
Yeah. What's crazy to me though is that so far it's only, well, I mean, I guess at that level, it's only the females that have been fired or stepped down.
Yeah, Kash Patel's still in his job, although seems like he's not there for a long time.
I'd say he might be out pretty quick. We'll see.
I think so too, especially like with as much. But Todd Blanche came out and said, "No, I'm behind him all the way. Whatever." I'm like, okay, you enjoy that.
That's crazy.
I wanted to talk very quickly.
Yeah.
Because we were talking earlier about the midterms.
Yeah.
There was kind of an important election last night.
Yes.
So the state of Virginia, they held their election for their redistricting map. So it was to approve a wildly Democratic favorable redistricting map. It would basically take the Virginia seats in the House from 6 Democrat, 5 Republican. They're estimating it could change to 10 Democrats and 1 Republican.
Oh my God.
That's crazy. Between basically when all is shaken out, Trump has managed to lose 4 seats.
That's hilarious.
I know. Now, the reality is like Florida still has their redistricting map. Louisiana, they're saying that they're not going to approve. It's still basically up to the Supreme Court whether or not it's going to go in. They've already filed a lawsuit against Virginia and their redistricting map, even though it was just passed last night. So like the reality of whether these make it in or not will be interesting. And what I'm really interested in is the Supreme Court the Supreme Court decision
Mm.
is like because they basically came in and said like a lot of these maps, they're just saying point blank are race based. Like we're
Mm-hmm.
redistricting based on race, and like,
Mm-hmm.
is that going to be allowed or is that not going to be allowed? And this Supreme Court, while they, of course, we know lean Republican, they have not been willing to break the
Yeah.
Constitution. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Like even the abortion stuff has been, we're just moving those decisions back to the states. It
Mm-hmm.
hasn't been like, oh, we're outlawing this and blah blah blah. So this is where I'll be really interested to see what ends up happening and whether or not they try and punt this until after the midterms,
Oh,
knowing that this is so critical for the election.
yeah.
Because once they make a decision, they're making a decision. And then I think that like likely is going to open up all of these maps or not,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah. Oh
anyway.
my God. It's going to be, I think what infuriates me about it is that they're all up in arms. Trump immediately started calling it, a rigged election and all this kind of shit, but they put it to a fucking vote
Yeah.
of the people. When we've seen these other states like Texas not do that. They didn't put it up
Yep.
for a vote. You know what I mean? They didn't try to follow a
Oh, yeah.
democratic process. They put it up to the people to say, do you want to do this or not? You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, yeah. Well, and the one thing that makes me delighted is the fact that this is all a Trump brought this on himself.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
the one
This
that
is the
told
fallout of
Texas to
him.
redistrict.
Yep.
Like, what does he think? Like,
Yeah.
I know you think that I know you think this country is split 50-50,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not.
Mm-mm.
This country is split 25, 25, 50.
Mm-hmm.
And like you have to understand that blue states are big and have lots of resources and
Yes.
lots of money and so I just don't understand why we just like I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm glad. Like so I was watching Jordan Klepper because he was doing a like Pulse of the Nation, and
Yeah.
it's Jordan Klepper fingers the nation's pulse, and I think that's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah.
If you ever get a chance, like you watch it on YouTube or whatever, and he was
Yeah.
going around and talking to people about like Trump creates these problems and then he fixes them, and then his constituents are like, isn't he great for
isn't he
like
just a
fixing this
genius?
problem?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, well, yeah, but maybe you just don't create the problem in the first place.
Right.
Like this is how he operates so often. So anyway.
Yeah, I heard an analogy that was like, this is the equivalent of a firefighter starting a fire and then going with his department to fight the fire and being like, I'm such a hero.
Yes.
But you started
That's
the fucking
exactly how
fire
it
to
is.
begin with. Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. Okay. I have another thing that amuses me.
Okay.
Have you heard of the influencer Emily Hart?
No.
That doesn't surprise me because you don't follow right-wing influencers.
I do not.
But,
This is true. Yes.
okay. Emily Hart is this big MAGA influencer, I guess.
Okay.
She's this blonde who wears United States bikinis and then goes out
yay.
and like shoots guns and
Of course she does.
does ice fishing and drinks Coors Lights.
She's like a mixture of like Lauren Bobo and Sarah Palin.
Yes. Except blonde. And she posts super right-wing content. Like, here's one of her comments. If you want a reason to unfollow, Christ is king, abortion is murder, and all illegals must be deported. She has like a point of view. You're born intelligent, but then decide to become a Democrat. Shit like that, right?
Yeah. 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 Clickbaity shit.
It was discovered
Oh God.
that she is actually an AI generated, 100% AI generated by this medical student kid from India.
Shut up.
Who needed to pay his medical bills. So he goes into Google Gemini and he's like, how can I make quick money to pay off my medical bills? And the Gemini's like, become an influencer. And he's like, how can I make the most money quickly as an influencer? And Gemini's basically like, oh, you can convince MAGA men. They have the most disposable income and are able to, they'll send you
Oh
the most money. And so
my
that's what he did. He said
God.
he would spend about less than an hour a day creating MAGA content, putting it on the internet, putting it on, YouTube and whatever.
Yeah.
And he was making thousands of dollars a month. He eventually created, so I guess there are other sites kind of like OnlyFans, which I didn't realize, but they're like OnlyFans, but
Okay.
they're different. So
Yeah.
it's like Temu OnlyFans. I don't fucking know. But anyway, he put this girl on Temu OnlyFans and made even more money.
I mean, is this illegal? I feel like it's not illegal. Is it illegal?
Okay, so we're going to talk about that in a second, because this is what I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
So he said that he also tried to create this type of influencer through Democrats, and do left leaning. And he said Democrats don't fall for these schemes nearly as much. So he wasn't hardly making any money. It wasn't worth his time. But he said, he's like, yeah, these people just fell for my bullshit, and it is what it is.
Oh my God.
This is what I wanted to ask you. A whole bunch of like people responding are like, oh, shocking. The right wing who has fallen for the world's biggest con man falls for another con. Like whatever. But there's like this big debate online of, is this just laughable, stupid people falling for stupid shit, which we know they do all the time. Like, we know these people are falling for the shit that Trump says all the time. And they're watching like videos that have bad information, and they're watching Fox News, and they're reading True Social, and it's all.
And they're buying his tennis shoes and his Bibles and his meme coin. And
exactly. We see this all the time. But then there are others that are like, all I see is a con man who conned people.
Is that because he's brown skinned? Because you sure can't see it when they're white.
Exactly. And to your point, like, so I follow several left leaning political people.
Yeah.
Like, Anna Connolly is cool, and Politics Girl. And if I found out, now we know Politics Girl is real. She's been on CNN. We've seen her sitting there in a seat. But if I found out that Politics Girl was not real, I don't know that I would feel like I was duped necessarily. It would make me question,
like, God, I'm so stupid. How did I fall for that?
But I would even I guess the reality is, like, I watch her videos because I learn things from her videos.
Oh, right. Yeah, it's not just confirming your biases already. Yeah.
Exactly. So, like, to your point, like, when I watch Anna Connolly is cool, I learn stuff from what she says, because she'll talk about like, oh, so you didn't understand how this works, so let me explain it to you. And then she explains it. Now, do I recognize the fact that probably has a lot of left leaning, like, truth to it? Yes, because I'm not a dodo head.
Right.
But then at least if I learn about something, I can go out and I can research to say, okay, what does the right say about this? How are they responding to this or whatever?
Yeah.
And then at least I know, so I'm not just an idiot, right?
Yeah.
But like her content is a bunch of like libtards and like, it's
there's nothing.
This,
it's
like,
just it's just the same old fucking slogans that they have just, washed and rinsed and repeated 5,000 goddamn times since 2016.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So anyway, so I personally, like, we do need strong legislation in my mind that makes it punishable to share misinformation.
Yeah.
To like, and if people are making AI generated information, I feel like there needs to be legislation that informs people that it's AI generated.
Yeah.
I started thinking today, so like Masterclass has a bunch of classes on AI. And so I'm using Copilot now to try and like manage my inbox and manage this and manage that. That's all one thing. But when you sit down and you look at like the apps that you can create and, the videos you can create and the photos you can create of people, and yes, there still is the six fingers that pops up every now and then. but you can make stuff that's decent. And so, like, at the end of the day, we really, really, really need to at least educate people that, hey, this is AI generated. This isn't real, so that they know. Because I fall for, like, myself can fall for shit all the
Yeah,
time. Like those
100%.
stupid videos with the animals on the trampoline.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I fell for every one of those.
Yeah.
Every one of those.
Yeah.
But that's harmless.
Yes, I
But
was
I
gonna
also
say,
am like,
yeah,
right.
yeah. We literally watched a commercial last night, and Riley's like, "I hate this AI slop," and I'm like, "Well, I can tell that some of this is AI, but I'm like, isn't he just in front of a green screen?" And then literally, it pops up at the bottom, entire commercial is AI generated. And she's like, "No, mom, like, look at him. He's too perfect looking. Like, he's not even real. He's not even a real human." I thought at the beginning of it, of the commercial, that he was just standing in front of a green screen, which is why the background looked fake.
Yeah.
But I thought he was a real person. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, I'm fucking cooked at 47.
Well,
I'm never going to be able to make it at 70. Like, what the
well,
fuck?
I do appreciate the fact, and it actually makes me feel really good that Riley's like,
Yeah.
oh, I
She
picked up on
recognized
that
it.
right away.
Yes, right away.
I'm
Yeah.
guessing that most of our kids are like that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because to your point, like, look, I did this again. I did this last week, and
You
now I'm
and your
doing it
perfect
again.
hands. It's
Like
fine.
this is my OnlyFans porn is putting on lotion.
Yes.
You're welcome.
This is
Right.
your Temu OnlyFans.
Yes, this is your Temu OnlyFans. Yeah. I don't know what's wrong with me. Anyway, but to your point, you and I get an email from the Prince of Nigeria and
Yes.
recognize fraud like that.
Yes. Yes.
You and I, we get, and our parents can fall for it all
Yes.
the time, or we get directed to a website that is obviously fraud, and you and I can
Yeah.
recognize it immediately.
Yes.
And our parents
Cannot. Yeah.
they do not as easily, I think, as you
Yes.
and I can.
Yes.
So, like, maybe it is where our kids are going to get so good at recognizing, oh, this is obviously AI,
Yeah.
and it's just going to take us like time to
Yeah.
recognize it more.
But it's, I mean, I don't, oh, God. I mean, you know, it is illegal.
Did you say
for like,
God because you realize that you're starting to like, God, am I that old?
that I'm that fucking old that, yeah, that this is the boomer in me coming out. But like, you know, I know it's obviously illegal when these old people get told to go to the ATM machine and, you know, take out all the money or to do the wire transfer stuff.
Or buy a gift card or
Yes.
whatever.
And yet it still happens every single day.
Yeah.
And they usually don't find those people.
No.
So I'm like, this situation is with this Indian kid doing this is no different. And in fact, I would say is actually not as bad because these people at any point could have done their own fucking research onto whether or not this was actually a right-leaning influencer before they sent money.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
And they just chose not
100%.
to.
Well, and in all fairness, so this guy wants to, so he has, he told Wired this story and used a different name because he didn't want to be, he's choosing to stay anonymous. But he eventually wants to emigrate to the United States as a doctor. And I'm like, I bet if he does emigrate to the United States as a doctor, like,
yeah.
Anyway, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But.
Jesus.
Okay, so I had to tell you that story because I thought that was amusing.
I had no idea.
A couple of little quick hit items that are coming up, and then I want you to tell us about Caitlyn Jenner because I had not heard this story at all.
Okay.
So real quick, Texas schools, a U.S. appeals court ruled yesterday that Texas can now require that the 10 Commandments needs to be displayed in public school classrooms.
Require it?
Require it. The state legislature came out and said it is important. Like, what did he say? Something like, this country has a long tradition of being founded on Christian principles. So it is necessary that we ensure that we are teaching those every single day. So it is now required that in public schools, the 10 Commandments is to be displayed.
My God, my head's going to fucking explode.
Arkansas and Louisiana have also passed similar laws. Mm-hmm. And then the other quick hit item I have is Georgia Democrat David Scott died. He was running for another term at 80 years old.
Oh my God.
When asked about his aging and running for the last term in 2024, his wife and campaign manager says when the congressman decides to leave, he won't be pushed out. He'll bow out.
Mm. Sounds like
How'd that work out for you?
Yeah, sounds like the Lord said, it's your time.
We're done. That's
Yep.
right. So I just like the fact that we have these 1,000-year-old dipshits still in office.
We don't have term
Democrat
limits.
or Republican, I don't care. It's like, sir, when you get to a certain age, you're done. You need to be done.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
I just had to tell you that.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
tell us about Caitlyn Jenner.
Well, and I just want to say too that this whole thing with the Texas thing that you were just telling me about, and the like, just chaps my ass because of the Bible reading that happened from the Oval Office yesterday. And so it just falls in line with this Christian nationalist bullshit that we're doing in this country. You know what I mean? Like it just,
oh yeah,
what the fuck?
Yep.
Okay, so good old Caitlyn Jenner, who I cannot stand for multiple reasons, but mostly because she's an unapologetic fucking Trumper.
Oh yeah.
And she is fully in the midst of her find out stage of her fucking around.
I love that so much.
So
we need we need merch.
We really do.
Only like 60 people that regularly
really
listen to us.
Yeah.
But we love those 60 people, and we need to make merch so that we can. Yeah, we got to work on that because
we need a trucker hat that says something.
Right.
Yes.
And one of our biggest items needs to be who is in their biggest find out episode right now.
Yes, 100%.
Okay, sorry.
No, you're fine. So Caitlyn Jenner has found out that she can no longer travel internationally as her passport now uses her biological gender at birth. Big old fat M on that motherfucker. The State Department obviously changed its passport rules last year after Trump handed down an executive order. She went so far. She appeared on that stupid cunt Tomi Lahren's Fox talk show to complain about the decision, saying that she had recently renewed her passport and it came back with gender marker M. Screws everything up. So she, of course, has reached out to the Trump administration. She's heard nothing back. But then get this. In the interview with Tomi Lahren, she said she didn't blame Trump personally for the issue, explaining, I love President Trump. I think he signed this executive order. Well, clearly, it's an executive order. They always sign it. I don't know who underneath him was putting this thing together that all federal documents have to be your biological sex at birth. Ma'am, I'm going to hold your hand when I tell you that I'm going to need you to come out of your rich white woman bubble and pay the fuck attention to what is going on in the country. You are I've never understood her being a MAGA. I've never understood it. I also don't understand blacks for MAGA. I don't understand, I'll never understand any of that. But this is insane. Yeah, she said, all my documentation was right. My passport, global entry. I traveled around the world. I've got stuck in Tel Aviv when they started bombing. This is what happens. This is what you wanted. You donated to the campaign every time. You've been a vocal supporter of him and his administration. Yeah. And you weren't paying attention. And guess what? This is what happens. Because at any point, she could have spoken out against it.
Right. And how could she not know this was a central caveat to his, all of his campaigning was against transgender
the trans
people.
Community.
Yes. So is his entire, so what did you think was going to happen?
Did you think that because you are Caitlyn Jenner and because you have money, you thought it wasn't going to apply to you?
That's right.
That because you're white, it wasn't going to apply to you? That because you have defended him on social media, in interviews, you've been a vocal supporter, that your passport was going to come back with an F marker? See, honey, that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works.
Yes.
And again, you're going to drown in the water that you're carrying for the patriarchy. And I wish you the best. Put some water wings on, bitch, because you're going to fucking drown in it.
That's right. I have privilege,
Yeah.
so I can just watch you drown.
Yep. Yep. Like, I don't have any sympathy for you
None. Zero. I have
because
zero
you've
sympathy
sold
for
out
her.
your own fucking community
Yes.
time and time
You
again for this
That's right.
administration.
That's right. You sold out your community for this administration. This is the smallest
Mm-hmm.
indignity you could
Mm-hmm.
possibly encounter.
This
Like
is the
this
same
is
woman that refused to stop watering her lawn during the wildfires in California a couple of years ago and was talking to Kris Jenner in the moment, being videoed saying, I'm not doing it. They can find me if they want to. I'll be watering my lawn because she is the epitome of a wealthy white woman that the rules don't apply to. I don't know why she doesn't just go to Florida, move down there, and live down there with the rest of those fucking MAGA
yeah.
freaks.
Go to Mar-a-Lago.
Yep.
Go to Epstein Island, do whatever.
Yep.
I don't care, but get the fuck out. Like, ugh.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So good old Caitlyn Jenner. Wah, wah. Gonna have a
My
real hard
heart.
time. I know. Don't you just feel
My
so
heart
bad
goes
for
out.
her?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just real bad. So
Yeah.
sad.
Well, on that note, so Kash Patel, fuck around and find out.
Yes.
Lori Chavez DeReamer, fuck around and find out.
Yes.
All the MAGA men who loved Emily Hart, fuck around and find out.
Yes.
And now Caitlyn Jenner fucks around and finds out.
Yes. Gotta love it.
This is what you get. You're getting
Yes.
exactly what you asked for.
100%. Yeah.
Okay. As much as I enjoyed that story,
Yeah.
I assume it's not our happy ending.
It's not our happy ending. It's not. Also, though, do you want to talk really quick about the guy that got honeypotted? Very similar to the right-wing influencer that honeypotted people. Go.
So, and this literally just came out tonight. And so to your point, like, I only read one article about this person that actually like got honeypotted.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the director of the nuclear program.
Yeah. Chief of Chemical Nuclear Surety.
Which, you know, that he has some knowledge, right? Like we know he's got to have some knowledge. Yeah. Army Nuclear Surety Chief Andrew Hugg.
Yes.
Has been removed this evening from the Pentagon following an undercover honeypot revelations. All right. I got to be honest. I had never heard of what a honeypot revelation is.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, when I look at like the honeypot revelation, what do you know? Can you
it's
tell
very
me
similar
what that
to like,
really
it's
means?
very, I'm going to paraphrase and probably not get it 100% right, but very similar to like when Russia will send a very well-looking woman in to woo somebody in our government so that they can get information that Russia needs to sabotage us. That's a honeypot. They're using their
AI told me
their
as well.
look and their sex and their face and all the things to get the information.
Okay. Because I was like, because, you know, I went to AI, like I asked Gemini, I was like, what is this? And they're like, oh, yes, it's when someone uses a sexual romantic deception. But then I was like, is that true? Like, is that actually true?
I don't know if it actually always leads to sex, but there's the implication that sex is forthcoming at some point in the future. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so Yahoo News, which I did not realize Yahoo News still existed. Can we just say that funny. As well? But Yahoo News is saying that the U.S. Army branch chief for chemical nuclear surety was reportedly escorted from the Pentagon this week. It said that, I guess, since at least August 2024, he has worked in this position. He's been quietly removed after the incident when a video by O'Keefe Media Group, which they said is a conservative leaning investigative outlet, so I'm surprised.
Oh, interesting. I didn't even bother to look them up. That's interesting.
But I guess they confirmed that yesterday they placed Mr. Hugg on administrative leave while it conducts a thorough investigation into the matter. So the release of the footage is described as roughly running for 14 minutes. And what they're saying is that the moment captures what did they say? Top U.S. news. So he was leaking sensitive national security information to a stranger. And he disclosed that the U.S. has plans to kill Iran's new supreme leader. Did you read that?
I didn't read. I read something about Iran, but it wasn't that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
I mean, it's wild.
Yeah.
It's wild. Like I read it on the Liberty Line reporting. Again, a website I didn't even know existed. But it said that he confirmed the U.S. still possesses nerve agents, that a U.S. Army chemist recently died from exposure to one of those agents, that the U.S. airstrikes have killed children in Iran and that they're just considered collateral damage. Walked through how nuclear launch decisions are made in real time, and then outlined a plan to assassinate Iran's next supreme leader if he doesn't change his ways. Sir.
Okay.
What are we doing? But I guess they said that the best part is that at some point in the evening, he said, "You're not a spy, right? Your eyes have mesmerized me so much, almost like you're an intelligence." He then added, "The easiest way to get intelligence, send a pretty girl and talk to the guy."
So that's what I heard, was send a pretty girl. And I was like, oh my. Okay. So
what?
How is this our reality?
Just every single person in this administration is a goddamn dipshit.
And how have men run the world for as long as they have?
Oh my God. Right? Literally. How is this still continuing to happen in 2026?
Well, you know how it is the fact that we have not. So there's only been one major story, and it really has not been major, about the Epstein files in the last week. And Pam Bondi still is not arrested.
Oh, yes.
She's still, that's how they protect themselves. They protect each other.
Yeah, you're right.
And they protect each other over partisan politics. So if two men were on Epstein together and one's a Democrat and one's a Republican, they're still both protecting each other because they need to protect each other. So that's how they say it.
Oh God.
So that is as far as we've gotten, is like reading an article on Yahoo News. And right. And so we might have more information about it next week. But
Poor guy.
So
just fucking clueless. Dumb as a box of rocks. Jesus Christ.
I know.
Yeah.
Send a pretty girl. That's all it takes.
Yeah. I guess.
And you'll disclose it all.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Okay. You want your happy ending?
Yes.
Okay. It's coming to us out of Chicago.
Okay.
In 2022, during a conceptual bid to improve library access, Chicago Public Schools thought they'd see whether teens would be more likely to use the library if their school ID doubled as a library card. Turns out that when you remove requirements, attendance and use at all 81 locations of the Chicago Public Library go up. So as a result, they expanded the original initiatives called the 81 Club indefinitely until every school ID could be used as a library card, thereby ensuring any school ID holder in the city could access more than 6 million books and pieces of research simply by providing that ID number.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it said the 2022 pilot program saw library access increase by 63% among economically disadvantaged students.
Yeah. I got to tell you. So AJ has started using, like, we are going to the library on the regular because AJ goes there for his tutoring.
Oh, yeah.
And being the privileged person that I am, I have not needed to go and walk into a library in a while because if I want a book,
you do ebooks a lot too, don't you?
I do ebooks all the time. I listen to them, audiobooks all the time. And like, I never do. I use the Libby app. Do you use the Libby app?
No, girl, I will not listen to a book on tape. I strictly need the physical book in my hand. So I'm at our library all the time. Like, there are times that I buy a lot of books. Don't get me wrong. I have a ton of books.
So do I.
And depending on what the book is, I will decide, is this going to be a borrowed book or am I going to go purchase it? But yeah, I've gotten to the point where I'm not going to walk in the library and peruse the shelves more than likely. I know what I'm looking for. I get on Mid-Continent's website. I look it up. I request it. And then I go in and I pick it up when it's ready. But I go to the library a lot. Yeah.
So I go quite a bit, and like, we go on Wednesdays because that's AJ's day for whatever. And like, I really, really enjoy parking my ass at a table and working.
Yeah.
And,
like
preparing
the atmosphere
for this
in the
podcast
library.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an enjoyable atmosphere.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that like there are other kids there that are studying together.
Yes.
I love the fact that there are other tutors there tutoring kids. Like
Yeah.
it's really, if you haven't been, like I said, am I use the Libby app, and so I use audiobooks, or to your point, ebooks, and then I rent them from. So I haven't been stepped inside in a while, and
Yeah.
if you get a chance, like it's just such a, it feels like the same peaceful environment as a Barnes and Noble, but with a lot more places to sit down.
Yes. Yeah. And I can remember when Riley was little, we would, especially when Jamie had gone to third shift and I needed to keep her quiet and she'd get bored and it's hot as fuck in the summer, we would go to the
Hmm.
library and I'd sit in there
Hmm.
and read my book and she'd just roam the library. And you know
Hmm.
what I mean? And like
Hmm.
we would kill so much time in the library because
Hmm.
I didn't have to worry about her. You know what I mean? She's just out running around over in her area, looking at books and fuck, we'd check out 15 books knowing she was not going to read all of them. You know what I mean? But who
Oh, I
cares?
know.
So I love the idea of like, they took their school IDs, something that they're
Hmm.
required to have at their schools, and they just turned them into a library card.
Well, how simple is that? Although, in
Yes.
all fairness, like my library card's on my phone.
Oh, is it? Well, I mean, I have a physical library card, but yeah, I guess I
I'm
probably
sure
could
I
get,
do too,
yeah,
but yeah, like I have
yeah.
my library card on my phone because, well, I guess because I had to put it on my phone to link it to my Libby app.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that might be
Yeah.
why I have mine on my
Yeah.
phone.
But I
But
think
yeah,
that's
to your
genius.
point,
I
like
think every school district should do something like this.
I agree.
It
Agree.
reduces the barrier of like being able to access the local library. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes.
Especially
And
because so many of our school districts are trying to do stupid shit where we don't allow certain books in our school
I
libraries.
know we're banning books. And so
Yeah.
to your point, like having that available and letting kids make it easy for
Yes.
them to just walk in and borrow a book. And
Yeah.
it's funny. I remembered being a kid. As a kid, I remembered not being a heavy reader. But
Mm.
then I think back and I'm like, but I was always reading something. Like my very first book that I ever finished was A Wrinkle in Time. And I finished that in the 5th grade. But I
Oh,
was even doing
interesting.
like Ramona Quimby age
Oh,
8, and I
yeah.
was doing like Judy Bloom and
Super
like all of those.
Fudge and yeah, and I
Right.
read all the
Ramona,
Amelia
yes.
Bedelia books and Pig and
Yes.
Mrs. Pigglewiggle and all
And
yeah,
then I did the
Babysitter's
Sweet
Club,
Valley. Right.
Sweet
Well, I
Valley
did Sweet Valley
High.
High. Like
I
I
did
was
too.
Sweet Valley High,
Yeah, I
and
did
that's what I
both.
was reading. And
Yeah.
so like I think about it and I was like, no, I wasn't a heavy reader. And I'm like,
No, you
but
were.
when I
You
was,
were. Yeah.
and I really like enjoyed that. And so I love the idea
Mhm.
of like encouraging kids
Yeah.
to get into reading because
Yes.
it is definitely such a good hobby to have. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So that's your happy
yeah,
ending.
that's nice. That's a nice happy ending. I like that a lot. And hopefully in other metros like start establishing that
Yeah,
as well.
I
'Cause
think
how
it's
convenient would
genius.
that be?
Yeah.
Because honestly, like I think I would have to get out my cards to find
Oh my God.
my physical card.
Mine's in my wallet.
Mine's not. It's in here
Yours
somewhere.
is in there somewhere. It might be just as
I was
easy
like,
to go to the library and have them print you a new one.
I'm like, wouldn't it be funny if it was like this card? But
Mhm.
it's not.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
And like I have never visited the Kansas City Library downtown. And it's
you
on my
haven't?
no, and it's on my list because I know they have the giant chess set on the
Yeah.
roof and like all the things. And I'm always telling Jamie and Riley I want to go to the library. And they're like, you're such a nerd. But like I don't know that I could get
We should make a date.
I don't know that I could get a library card for the Kansas City Public Library because I
You
don't live
can.
in Kansas City.
You can.
But I'm like, I just want one for the fucking sake of it. Like, I'm never going to drive
Yeah.
down there and check out a book because Mid-Continent's in my town and there's how many in Gladstone? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm like, I just kind of fucking want one for the sake of it. Like, yeah.
No, I'm pretty sure because I one time had an ebook that I really, really wanted, and all of them on Mid-Continent were booked. So I got my library. I had to get a Kansas City library, and then I used their
Oh,
library to see if they had it available, which they didn't have it either because it was like it
son of a
just came out, and I'm like,
yeah.
Jesus Christ, Jamie.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing that sucks about renting ebooks from the library is that they don't have an unlimited number of copies, so you're still like
Which is
waiting
kind of
for it
weird.
to
I
be.
would have assumed that they did. Because, like, with physical books, like, I'm always on a waiting list typically. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I
Mm-hmm.
would not have expected
Same
that with
thing.
an ebook. Interesting.
Nope, it's the same thing.
Huh.
Yep. I pretty much have had to wait for like right now I've got on hold. I was just looking at mine, but I put on hold the Devil in the White City.
Girl, I own it. Do you want to borrow it? Oh my God, I
Well,
have every single one of his books. He is
I
fucking phenomenal.
I got it recommended to me, so I have it on hold through audiobook.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah. Oh, I bet it'd be really good as an audiobook. I bet it'd be
So
really good as an audiobook.
I I have migrated to murder mysteries,
Oh,
and those I like thrillers and stuff like that. I
yeah.
really enjoy on an
I
audiobook.
bet. Yeah. No,
And
all
I
of
listen
his
to them
books.
when I take Betty on her walks.
Yeah, his
So
books are
it's good.
fucking phenomenal. So if that's the first one you start with, you'll get
Yeah.
hooked. I love
Okay.
all of his books. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, good.
Yeah.
Then
You'll
I'm
love it.
excited.
Yeah.
If it ever comes off hold,
If you can
otherwise
ever
I'm gonna
get
have
it.
to borrow it from you.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway.
I'll read it to
All
you.
right. Thank you. I appreciate that. The Library of Nicole. Yeah,
Yes.
I'll have to make us library cards so that I
Oh,
can,
yes. Huh.
indeed. Okay, well, this has been quite the fuck around and find out episode.
Yes.
In all fairness, I was like, man, not a lot has happened this week. And then I started researching and I'm like, well, after Trump as Jesus last week, last week
And
was
then
such
holding a Bible reading this week. Like, we're just keeping with the theme, girl. Yeah.
Indeed. And so, like, to your point, I was like, oh, this week's not going to be as exciting, whatever. But then
Yeah.
I started looking, I'm like, oh, no, there's a lot going on right now. So, anyway.
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you all for liking this video. Please share it. That really helps. Subscribe to the channel. Also, if we come out with merch, we will put it somewhere.
Yes.
I'm trying to work on a website for us, findoutnation.com.
Oh, listen to you.
I did buy the domain, but I've done absolutely nothing else with it. So you know how that goes. I did the
Yes.
same thing with our social media accounts, created social media accounts and have done nothing with them. So that's awesome. With that said, maybe I'll put whatever invisible merch I create on these random sites that I don't do anything with because I can't really commit. And this is as far as I get. With that said, we love you all. We hope you have a fabulous week and a fabulous weekend. Bye.
Bye.